Thank you for tuning in to Tanaka TV, the best and future biggest fight channel on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like, that comment, that subscribe button. We are coming up on 2K subs, but we cannot do that. This channel cannot do that without your support. We're sitting at about 1,070 subs, so we can get there. We can get there, but we can't get there without you. So thank you for those who support this channel, and thank you for those who will support this channel in the future. I truly appreciate it. Now, we've gotten some, I don't know. I don't know what kind of news. You can call it sad news. You can call it, understandable news. Oh, I think it's a little bit of mixture of both. That Dustin Poirier is saying that this fight, his next fight, will probably be his last. And I completely understand why. This man has fought the who's of the UFC, especially in that 155, even in the 145 division. This man started, if for those who don't know, in the WEC days. WEC doesn't even exist anymore. The UFC swallowed WEC and they merged. That was when with that whole group of like Anthony Pettis and Uriah Faber and like Benson Henderson. All the true MMA fans know what I'm talking about. And so I don't think Dustin Poirier at this point in time has anything else or much else to offer us. I think he's going to go down as, it's not even arguable, as a Hall of Famer. And sure, unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to capture the unified, undisputed UFC belt. He unfortunately wasn't able to, but he was able to accomplish a lot in the UFC. When it comes to the people that he's fought and won and beat, he's beaten St. Dennis, Michael Chandler, Conor McGregor twice, Dan Hooker, Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, Anthony Pettis, Jim Miller, Bobby Green, Joe Duffy, Yancey, Diego Ferreira, Diego Brandao. People. Max Holloway again. He has beaten the who's. And like I said, he just wasn't able to capture the title. He did lose to Khabib. He did lose to Charles Oliveira. He did lose to, Justin Gaethje and Islam Makhachev. But this man has put on some of the best performances in my mind in the UFC, at least we can say in that division, correct? I mean, that fight against Dan Hooker is one of my favorite fights. Dan Hooker. I love that fight. It's probably top 5, one of my most favorite fights, and probably top 5 most violent fights that have ever graced the octagon in the UFC. I loved his fight with Michael Chandler. I loved his fights with Conor McGregor, with Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje. Come on, people. This man brought violence to the octagon. He was there to fight every single time. Win or lose, he was there to fight. And you can't take that away from him. Now, let's carry this conversation to who should Dustin Poirier fight next. Now, for me, there are 2 solid options. One is within that 155 weight class, and the other is outside of the 155. It's in the 170 weight class. We'll start with the person that, when I was scrolling through the 155 division, and I was looking at people that he might not have fought already. Now, we could say that he could fight, maybe Justin Gaethje again. He might, you can fight Max Holloway again. Those are always going to be solid options. But the one who stood out to me, the one that he has not fought, is Rafael Fiziev. I would love to see that fight, and for him to finish off his career with Rafael Fiziev, who is going to bring the fight. That is going to be a stand and bang kind of matchup, and it's a way for Dustin Poirier to go out going up against an extremely dangerous guy. He's number 8 in that lightweight division. So I would love to see that fight. I think that could be a very, very entertaining matchup. And I think in my mind, it's good enough for him to go off into the sunset and be at peace for the most part, as much as he's going to be without capturing the title if he beats Rafael Fiziev. So I would suggest that matchup. But if we're talking about beef, if we're talking about a story, if we're talking about something that'll get the fans excited, especially if he wins, going up against Colby Covington would be the fight to make. For those who don't know, these two have had history with each other for quite some time. They've had back and forth beef. I'm also pretty sure that they even were in the same gym at a certain point in time, and they both have gone back and forth. Back and forth. I would love to see that fight. Now, who would I see winning that fight? It's hard to say. It's really hard to say because we've never seen Dustin Poirier move up to 170. I don't think Colby Covington could even possibly make 155. Maybe he could, but judging it based off of Colby Covington's frame and how it appears in my mind, it appears that Colby already has some troubles. You know, when I see him cutting to 170, he looks pretty drained already, so I don't know if he has much more to give as far as cutting 15 more pounds. That's a lot of weight, people. And so Dustin Poirier moving up to 170, we'll see. He carried the power very well from 145 to 155. Like, he wasn't really a huge power shot kind of guy in the 145. He hit hard. He had the ability to put you away, but him moving up to 155, it took him and his power to a whole nother level. It did. I mean, what comes to mind first was when he went up against Max Holloway in that 155 pound division. The power in those shots was absolutely insane. The power he brought to Michael Chandler and Dan Hooker, absolutely crazy. And so maybe he can bring even more power to that 170 pound division. Maybe. But like I said, I would love to see one of those two fights. Rafael Fiziev at 155 or Colby Covington at 170. And I think both of these are very valuable options for Dustin Poirier to just go off into the sunset. And so I wish Dustin Poirier the best. Like I said, future Hall of Famer. There's no question about it. Future Hall of Famer. And thank you, Dustin, for the fights and the entertainment that you've brought to people over, I mean, I'm going to say, we'll see, we're in 2024. What? He's been fighting for 15 plus years. Thank you, Dustin Poirier. Thank you. You have been one of my consistently favorite fighters throughout, the course of your career. You as a grappler who was known to be a grappler and to submit guys, to becoming one of the most dangerous strikers in that division. One of the best boxers in the UFC. Hats off to Dustin Poirier. Comment down below, people, who you would like to see Dustin Poirier fight for his last dance. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.